Hey, geometry, this is section 2-3, page 136, 12 through 42 is your evens is your homework. It's also posted on Google Classroom, or it's up on my assignment board. So 2-3 is deductive reasoning. It sounds kind of intimidating, but it's really a lot easier of a section than what 2-2 was. Inductive reasoning was the type of reasoning that we were doing before. It basically talks about patterns, and then you put those patterns in to some form of conclusion. So patterns go in and you form some sort of conclusion. Deductive reasoning is kind of the opposite of that, okay? So you take some sort of conclusion and you draw out facts from that. So, I don't know, it uses facts, rules, definitions, or properties to reach a conclusion. Inductive reasoning, a lot of time is, I'll just write this in here, patterns, and deductive is facts. They want us to, in part A and B, just read through the statements and just simply determine whether it's inductive reasoning or deductive reasoning, whether it's based upon a pattern or on a fact, okay? Part A, every time Lauren has a healthy meal before her run, she's able to run farther than her sister, who does not like healthy food. So Lauren runs farther than her sister if she eats healthy. Lauren has eaten a healthy meal, and so she concludes that she will run farther than her sister, okay? Now, that seems like a kind of a silly statement to make because it's not necessarily based upon facts, it's more based upon a pattern. So that is inductive reasoning. She's basically taken the pattern that she, if she eats healthy, she runs faster or farther or whatever, and put that into some form of conclusion. So inductive reasoning. B, if John is late making his car payments, he will be assessed a late fee of $50. John's payment is late this month, so he concludes that he will be assessed a late fee of $50. That's based upon fact, okay? You're going to be assessed a late fee if you don't pay on time. So that's deductive reasoning. That's a fact. No pattern to it. It's just the way it is, okay? Now, there are two laws, and these are kind of stupid laws, but two laws that go with statements. This is the first one of the two. So this is the law of detachment. The law of syllogism is on the other page. But law of detachment, okay? It basically starts out with two statements, a P and then a Q, okay? So label this as I label it here. If a car is out of gas, that's my statement P. Then it will not start. That's statement Q, okay? If a car is out of gas, then it will not start, okay? So what they do is they repeat, basically, statement P to us, and they want us to give a conclusion for statement Q. So it says Sarah's car is out of gas. That's kind of repeating statement P. So what do we conclude? Sarah's car will not start. That's our statement Q. So this is the final missing piece of our law of detachment, and they're going to have us do that down here. So given this information as P and then Q and then P and then Q, that's the way that law of detachment goes. P then Q, P then Q. And a lot of times they're trying to have you give that Q part, okay, or spit that Q part back out. So, using the law of detachment, determine whether each conclusion is valid based on the given information. So, if two angles are a linear pair, okay, think about what a linear pair is. They live on a straight line. Then their non-common sides are opposite rays, okay? This is their common side. Non-common sides are this one and this one. Do those have to be exactly opposite from one another? Yes. So if two angles are a linear pair, that's statement P, then their non-common sides are opposite rays. That's statement Q. Then it says AED and AEB form a linear pair, which is statement P. Then ED and EB are opposite rays. That's my statement Q. That follows exactly from the law of syllogism. P then Q, P then Q. So that is valid. That is a true statement. Okay? For B, if Micah goes to the beach, statement P, if Micah goes to the beach, she will wear sunscreen. That's statement Q. Micah is wearing sunscreen. Uh-oh. That's like statement Q again, right? Micah's wearing sunscreen. So if Micah's wearing sunscreen, does that necessarily mean she's at the beach? Not necessarily. She could be anywhere else and still be wearing sunscreen. But we do know that if Micah goes to the beach, she is wearing sunscreen. But if she's wearing sunscreen, it doesn't necessarily mean that she's going to the beach. Okay, that kind of in section 2.2, that was like the converse. So the original statement is true, but the converse is not necessarily true. So that is invalid. That is an invalid statement. Okay. So law of detachment: P then Q, P then Q. You're basically like taking the pattern and repeated it over again. Okay. Law of syllogism. Oh wait, hold on. Example 3. They want us to do another one of these, but explain it with a Venn diagram. So, determine whether each conclusion is valid based on the given information. If not, write invalid. Explain your reasoning. Okay, if a primate is an ape, P, then it does not have a tail, Q. Coco is a primate that does not have a tail. That's a statement, Q again. So Coco is an ape. That's again like the converse thing. We don't necessarily know that that is true. Now, illustrating this with a Venn diagram. Let's say here are all the primates. All the primates live in this box, okay? So we have primates that are apes. And a primate is an ape, then it does not have a tail. Apes do not have tails. So these are all of the primates with tails that live over here. They do not touch any of the apes. Primates with tails lives in this circle. Apes lives in this circle, okay? Now, Coco is a primate who does not have a tail. All right, so Coco doesn't live in this circle, but he could live here or he could live here. So Coco could live either of those places. He could be an ape or he could be an animal or primate that does not have a tail. Or excuse me, yeah, another primate besides an ape that does not have a tail. So we don't necessarily know where Coco is living. He might be an ape, he might not be. So that's what makes that invalid, right? Now, the second law, which is another stupid law, but whatever, is called the law of syllogism. This is one that you really, really, really need to remember because when we start to do proofs, we will actually call it the the transitive property. Okay, so the transitive property and the law of syllogism kind of go hand in hand. They're basically the same thing. So here's what the law of syllogism says. If you get a job, then you will earn money. If you earn money, then you will buy a car. So basically I have statement P, then statement Q, and then this one repeats statement Q again, and statement R. Okay? All of this will be given to you. Given to you. They give you P, Q, Q, R. Okay? What you have to come up with is this right here, is the link between the two. If you get a job, then you will earn money. If you earn money, then you will buy a car. So that means that if you get a job, then you will buy a car. Okay? Basically, that's concluding P and then R. Okay? So here's the breakdown of that. PQ, QR are given. Your conclusion is PR. Okay? That's how that works. So this is the part that you have to fill in. Law of syllogism. Determine whether each statement is valid based upon the given information. If not, write invalid. So these are my two statements. These are my given ones. If you are an actor, P, then you enjoy musicals, Q. If you enjoy musicals, Q, then you enjoy theater productions, R. So our conclusion should be, if you are an actor, then you enjoy theater productions. That's my PR statement, okay? So, is it true that if you enjoy musicals, then you are an actor? It says if you are an actor, then you enjoy musicals. This is like the converse of that. But maybe you enjoy musicals, but you're not an actor, right? So that is not necessarily true. That is invalid. If you are an actor, then you enjoy theater productions. That is true because it said PQQR, PR. So that is valid. Valid, and we are good. Okay? Example 5, last one. Apply the law of deductive reasoning. Okay, draw a valid conclusion from the given statements if possible. Then state whether you used the law of detachment or law of syllogism. Okay, the law of detachment has just 4 pieces. The law of syllogism has like 6. P, Q, Q, R, P, R. All right. If you are 16 years old, let's call that statement P. Then you can apply for a driver's license. Let's call that statement Q. Okay, Nate is 16 years old. That kind of sounds like statement P again. So that is following the law of detachment. P, Q, P, Q again. So we need to conclude statement Q and apply it to Nate situation, right? So if you're 16 years old, then you can apply for a driver's license. Nate is 16 years old, so our conclusion, Nate can apply for a driver's license. Much easier than what yesterday's was. Okay, so there's that. If you need to go back and look at anything in the video, if I went too fast, go for it. But there is that.